Oh, Michelle, delighted to be chatting with you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Really nice to get back in touch again and actually see your lovely face.
Oh, thank you very much. It's the same here. Last time we met, it was in the writing retreat, wasn't it, for Cinnamon Press, North Wales,
Yes,
near Conway.
that was a long time ago. Can't
Six,
actually remember what year it was.
it was 17, I think, about 5 years ago. In fact, no, I think it was 16, maybe. So 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and
750 pages.
um, well,
Oh, that's heavy. Do you do weightlifting practice with that?
I did put out a thing on Facebook saying, just as a little warning,
Yeah,
um, it's 739 pages, but it is, it's beautifully laid out.
yeah.
It's sort of.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it looks. Have you self-published this then on Amazon? Because that looks professional.
So it's a print on demand
Hmm.
and it's on Kindle. And if you're with Prime, I think you get the Kindle
Free.
free.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, it's 7.99. And but the paperback, for obvious reasons, is slightly more expensive because it's
Yeah,
quite
sure.
big.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I mean, people have it has sold. People
Yeah,
have bought it, but
yeah.
it's going to take a while for them to read it to do a review.
I enjoy a good long read. It's something I know. One of my favorite authors, Tom Clancy, his books come in, at the 500-600 page mark,
Yeah.
and you get a good read out of it. Last year at
Well,
least a week.
Rowan, you were talking about Rowan.
Rowan, yeah, yeah. I've just been
Oh,
looking at him on Twitter. Sorry.
Oh, bless his heart. He's bought the book,
Oh yeah,
and I rang him the other day because I was desperate to get hold of you because I had to cancel that meeting, and
yeah. No problem. It's all right.
I wondered whether he had your phone number. Anyway,
Ah,
we got chatting,
yeah,
and he said it was really spooky because I'm reading your book at the minute. He said, and I'm really enjoying it.
yeah,
Um, and for Rowan to say that.
yeah,
Um, I said that's given me a real boost because you get to the point with a book where you've been working on it for so long that you sort of you lose focus with it and you think, oh, this is
yeah,
just a load of rubbish.
yeah, yeah. What was the edit
So,
like on that? I can't imagine. I know with my novel that Rowan edited, Tales from the Green Hills, I edited that about 20 times. But I can't imagine the thought process going into editing your latest.
well, it went through a lot of transformations,
Yeah,
Terry. The book that I originally started writing, I think I had it was called Still Waters.
hmm,
I don't think any of the characters I had in the original survived.
yeah,
The plot didn't survive.
yeah,
Then when I sort of latched onto a character and I thought this is going to be a Madeline Driscoll one, because it wasn't originally.
yeah.
I then, once I got that and got the original body in the canal,
Hmm,
which is how it starts,
yeah.
I then had the first three chapters and I wrote those three chapters 15 times
Oof.
at least. And
Yeah,
it wouldn't go. I couldn't. No, this is no,
yeah,
don't like
yeah,
that. He's that got rid of him.
yeah.
He changed sex, said name, and um, and then something clicked,
Yeah.
and I was off.
Hmm.
But the problem was I then couldn't stop
Ah,
because it then basically I don't know whether you looked at but it's essentially two cases.
yeah.
One that Madeline Driscoll's running, one that her colleague Inspector Soames is running,
Hmm,
separate,
okay.
but they come together. They're obviously connected. Um, and on this one, the reader knows the killer before the police know the killer, or
Okay.
at least, yeah.
I looked at your trailer that you put out on Amazon where you do a reading of the prologue.
Oh God.
No, that's superb. It gives it the atmosphere there. You've got the thunder and lightning and the incessant
Well, did you
rain
know
coming down.
that was on what's it called? I had a recording of it. I don't like Alexa. I can't
Oh
cope
yeah,
with Alexa.
yeah,
it was just I'll show my age now, an LP
Yeah.
that I had, and then I just thought, oh, the Thunder, I'll have that.
Mm.
And then I sat over at the back there,
Yeah.
with the red light on in the background, and
Oh yeah,
had the Thunder on.
that's what it looked like. It looked like that same effect when you came onto this chat now, when you had the red filters.
I think it's just the candlelight. So I've got a candle burning,
Yeah.
so it might have been the fact that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ooh, spooky. Looks very, very atmospheric.
Hello. This is the prologue to my 4th book, The Killer Within. He stood by the car and looked towards the river. The sound of anxious voices and laughing children reached him from the other bank. Heavy drops of warm rain began to fall. A flash of lightning, followed by an immediate crash of thunder, changed the children's laughter to screams. The adult voices became frantic and insistent. He smiled, knowing they'd soon be leaving, returning to their warm homes for more tea and cakes. Gusts of wind shook the trees. Another bolt of lightning threw their branches into foreboding silhouettes. He turned back towards his car, opened the boot, and hoisted the awkward bundle over his shoulder. The sky darkened, the trees groaned, and a deep, bone-shaking rumble of thunder spurred him on. A young boy, hiding in the bushes from the thunderstorm, cried out. His voice was snatched away by the wind as another flash of lightning lit up the opposite bank. In that stark light, he saw a tall man, his crazy ginger hair whipping across his face, rolled a body into the river. The boy scrambled to his feet and started to run, but tripped and fell as more thunder shook the air. Huddling and shaking in the undergrowth, another bolt of lightning shot across the sky. Just before the boy squeezed his eyes shut, he caught sight of the man's knee-high cowboy boots, their shiny silver buckles glinting in the incandescent light. The image of those boots seared onto his retina, never to be forgotten.
So just go back a bit. How's life in Snowdonia? How come you moved there? Beautiful Snowdonia, North Wales.
Well, my husband was born in Wales.
Oh yeah.
He was born in Brumbo.
Yeah.
So his mum lived in Denbigh. Sadly, she's died. But we've been here now for 20 years.
Oh yeah. Is it quite remote where you are?
Well, we are reasonably remote in as much as we're sort of up above Blaenau Ffestiniog, but we're not far from Blaenau Ffestiniog.
Oh.
But we are an hour and 10 minutes basically from any civilization as you would know it, like Bangor, Llandudno, any main road, hospitals and all the rest of it. We are quite a long way away.
I've seen some of the photographs that you put on Facebook. The nature nearby, capturing the atmosphere.
Outside our windows, it's the Mulwins. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very peaceful.
Is it? No. Michelle, I'm quite weary of touching upon this, but I want to mention it too because you've been pretty open about it on WordPress. When you lost your beautiful daughter, Felicity, how the hell did you get over that? How did you cope?
You don't. I haven't got over it. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2010.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do. You just got to deal with it. Well, she had to deal with it. I didn't. Yeah. And then she was on tamoxifen because she had positive node, progesterone, estrogen, breast cancer.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of debate about whether chemotherapy or tamoxifen which would be better. As you know, chemotherapy it's a bit blunderbuss, or
Yes.
hits
Destroys
you.
everything. Yeah.
So she opted for the tamoxifen and all the other drug treatments. It reduced and it cleared. I mean, she had her breast removed and she had a reconstruction. And the consultant at Frimley, where she had it done, after I think it was 3 years, said there's no evidence of the cancer, but it doesn't mean it's gone. Just there's no evidence of it. And then she met her bloke that she's married, and she met him in May of 2014, and then in October of 2014 it came back again, and then that was chemotherapy. So the wedding that they planned was brought forward. So we organised the wedding in under 6 weeks. Just a sort of small wedding. And their honeymoon was spent at Frimley in the chemotherapy department while she was undergoing chemo. And then it just kept coming back. And each time it was more aggressive and it spread, and she didn't stand a chance.
I know she kept a sort of diary, regularly updates on Facebook. I was talking to her quite often. Immense bravery. I don't know. I think personally with me, I think I'd just go away and lie and lock myself in a shed in the garden, I think, rather than face the world.
She was adamant that people should understand what having metastatic breast cancer meant. And she had stage 4, and essentially that means it's a death sentence. You know, you're not going to get better, because people will keep saying to her, "You look well." And the thing that used to really anger her to the point of was, "Have you tried eating tomatoes grown under the April moon?" You know, was it?
Oh dear,
And all this sort of alternative therapy stuff. And Felicity would say to them, "Look, if eating tomatoes grown under the April moon worked, as you walked into a hospital, they would all be in baskets for you to help yourself. They wouldn't be spending bloody millions on chemo." So basically, she wanted people to know the reality, and not sugarcoat it. She said, "I'm not brave. I have to. What choice have I got? I haven't got a choice. I've got it, and it's not going to go away." She was incredible. I mean, I kept saying I was the one that was sort of trying to shut it out and say you'll get better. But you know, she said, "Mum, hello, you're the scientist. You know I'm not going to get better. You know I am going to die." And she said, "If you don't come to terms with that, that makes it harder for me." She was saying that to me, her mother.
That's awful.
So she was incredible. Really, as was her husband. It was James.
You mentioned, was it worse in a way because of your forensic scientist background? Because you had the facts there. You sort of.
Well, the thing is, Terry, in many ways, when I was researching what the situation she was in and all the doctor's report, I removed myself. I went into a sort of scientific mode of one step removed, looking at all of the conditions, all of the treatments, and sort of standing away and looking down. It was like when she was. I mean, people talk about being in a room and looking down and seeing yourself, and and I just said, "Really,
after close death experience,
but actually, when we were sat in the room and she had the scan done, and the consultant. We'd been waiting outside, and we were waiting and waiting, and the room we were going into, more and more people kept going in, more chairs were taken in, and Felicity said, "It's definitely cancer." Because why are all those people playing in the room? So when we went into this room, it was, support nurses, other nurses, the consultant. It was like a bloody concert was going to take place.
Yeah.
And she was then taken behind a sort of screen, and the consultant left the scan on her computer, knowing perfectly well that I would walk around the other side of the desk and look at it. And when I looked at the scan, I knew. And so I had something like 45 seconds of knowing before they came out, and the consultant said to Felicity, "It is definitely cancer." And then, honest to God, it was like a play of the daughter and the mother and the consultant and me watching it. It was weird.
Oh, I can't imagine that much a worse situation.
It was just weird because it should have been me. I was the age group that should have had the breast cancer, not what the consultant said to Felicity. "I need to ask you whether the breast cancer runs in the family at all." And because Felicity had asked me to research that with my mum and everything, and I'd given her the answer, which was no, there was no. And Felicity said yes. And I just thought, I didn't say anything. And the consultant saw my expression and said, "I'm sorry, so who has had the breast cancer?" And Felicity said, "I've got bloody breast cancer. I'm in the family." And I thought, well, yeah, she's absolutely right.
Yeah. Did your writing, was that an escape mechanism? Did that help in any way?
Yes, it did, because when you're writing, you're in control.
Yeah, true.
I can control the characters. I can kill off the characters I don't want.
Yeah.
I dictate the little world, and I can control it. And I couldn't do that with Felicity. Yeah, I couldn't control it. I just had to. Don't. Otherwise, I'm going to go. So.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's one of the reasons that people like a crime type of thriller, type of novel, because in a way you know that it's all contained within that, and there's an end, there's a resolution at the end. Whereas in real life, quite often there isn't. Bad things might drag on forever.
Yeah.
There's no nice tidy up at the end.
No, with this one, The Killer Within, I had an ending where there wasn't actually a particularly tidy ending. And then I thought, it sort of implies that the readers are going to expect the next bit, and I might not want to do the next bit, and I might want to move on to something different, or I might. I didn't want to commit to there being a sequel to the sequel, because if you write,
is there 3 now in the series for Madeline? Is that the third?
There could be. I mean, because in effect, what I'm doing is I'm writing crime stories, and she just happens to be at the moment the inspector that is investigating them, so I can have separate stories, and I can play about with that rather than having a running crime thing. I'm not that keen on having a reoccurring like serial killer or whatever that they can't catch and keeps coming back in other books. Because I sometimes find that quite irritating because it's a marketing technique, I think, to a certain extent, sort of trying to sort of blackmail your readers into getting the next one.
Yeah.
So I just quite happen to like Madeline. Well, quite a lot of people. There's people who read Remains of the Dead, where she appears.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of the reviews said they don't actually like Madeline very much because she's quite. And I said, well, actually, I think she's sort of based a little bit on me.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. With your forensic scientist background, you know, you are Madeline, aren't you?
There's a lot of expressions that she makes, and Peter says, "Oh, that is so what you would say."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, let's not make too much of that." I said, because quite a lot of people don't like that character. So
yeah, but at least they're making comments. She's getting noticed. She's getting out there.
Oh yeah, but she is very blunt.
Yeah.
She says what she thinks, and I do too. She's quite opinionated, and I'm afraid I am as well. But there you go.
you mentioned marketing. What social media platforms are you using? I know we've been chatting on Facebook for years. Do you use Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, any of these?
No. I've got Instagram.
Yeah.
That was because Felicity said, "Come on, Mum, you need an Instagram account." So that was her.
Yeah.
I was on Twitter ages and ages ago. I did try it, but I honestly, Terry, I got so irritated with it. And it's all the sort of, it seems to be a platform for people just to be negative, and I can't deal with that. So
what I've found, I've been using it for about 4 years. I've found that you build up your time, you build up based on your likes and people you follow and people who follow you. You get more appearing on your timeline that's more suitable for you. But I think for a newcomer, you know, you're going to get bombarded. A lot of people say how negative it can be.
Yeah, well, I just couldn't cope with it, so I shut the account.
Yeah.
So I've just got Facebook.
Yeah.
I formed a Michelle Pashley novels Facebook page.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not entirely sure that I'm using it very effectively. Well, Peter's that's my husband, who basically edited The Killer Within. Bless his heart.
Yeah.
That was tricky.
Yeah. Well, in the past, you've had Jan to do this, haven't you?
Well, she edited. What did she edit?
Black Sheep, I think she did.
She did Black Sheep. She edited.
And Remains.
Remains of the Dead and Never to Be Told. Peter did.
Yeah. Okay.
When Peter started doing it, being my husband, I got very, very defensive.
Because he's there, so you get like an instant reaction from
Well, because you know he'd make a comment about somehow the way I'd written something, and I immediately went on the defensive.
It's your baby, isn't it?
And that's not the way to deal with it. And so Pete said, "Look, if this is going to cause us to, you know, be at loggerheads, then I don't want to do it." And I said, "No, you're right. I've got to," because if there's a spelling mistake in something, it somehow it jumps out at him because it's just that, and grammar. Any grammatical errors, he will scream at him. And he doesn't do anything with the plot, but he acts as a reader and says, "Oh, where's this person?" You know, there might be a comment in the edit thing. Where has this person come from? Has this person appeared before, or is it just me that's forgot? So he's doing it from a reader's point of view.
Yeah.
He said, because you know, as a writer, you know, you get so wrapped up in the characters that you think
you become blind to things. Yeah.
And I have backgrounds on all of the people, all the characters, which the reader hasn't got, and then you forget that. So no, he's been brilliant.
Oh, good. Sounds like a decent editor. What are you working on at the moment? Is it another Madeline novel or another standalone?
I'm not working on anything at the minute, Terry. I'm having a sort of my husband's not been that well, so we've had a few. It's been a bit traumatic.
Yeah.
He's all right. He's just we're so when we've got all that settled, then I will start on the next one. But what it will be, I don't know yet.
Okay.
There's several things muddling through because I mean, like Never to Be Told was a completely different story compared to the other ones.
I haven't read that yet. I've read the first two, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I know, tell me off.
Well, Jan said that with regard to Never to Be Told, that she said that was one of the best, she said.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It is a different sort of story.
Which is your favourite? Is it the latest one? It probably is because that's the closest to your baby.
Yeah, I think so. I think so because I couldn't think because I only ordered a couple of author copies, and when they came through, I couldn't believe it.
That's huge, isn't it? How much do they cost you from Amazon? I know mine cost about £4 for the author copies, but with that being so many page-wise, it'd be about £10.
I think it was £8.15 for the author copy.
Yeah.
How
many words in that? Is there about 200,000 words in that?
No. 130,000 and something.
Oh.
I think it is.
Is it a larger font? Because I know my novel comes in roughly about 250 pages, and that's about 70,000 words. And yours is like 3 times the size of it. That's why I was doing that little bit of the math. Is it like a larger font or something?
I think it's double. It looks to me like double spacing.
Yeah.
And I've no idea. It's the first time I've had it published.
Oh, it is. Yeah. You can see that there's quite a bit of white space. Probably that adds to the page number.
Yeah. I mean, I have asked people who have bought it what they thought of it, and they said they like the layout because it makes it easier as a read.
I prefer larger fonts on my eyesight, but as we're all getting older, it's easier on the eyes, isn't it?
So although it's a lot of pages, there aren't that many words per page.
Okay.
So you feel like you're making progress.
Yeah. It's a page turner by the sound of it. Do you have a writing reach feature? Have you got a place there? I'm looking at the sort of
my study.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this your study now? We can see. Yeah.
Yeah. This is. I don't know whether I can. Can I? So. There's my.
Whoa! Looks like you're having a disco behind you. You got the Christmas lights up already.
No, I have those lights are on all the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just and then there's.
He looks a bit hungry.
Yeah, well, he's got his stethoscope.
Oh yeah, he needs a pan of scouse.
He needs something, bless him. So
I like all the colours and.
And there's my daughter.
Oh yeah. It's on the wedding day, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So everywhere there are pictures of her.
Oh, okay.
So yes, this is where I come to write, and so I can more often than not, I don't normally have the door shut, so I have the cats coming in. So normally you might have a cat walking across, or they sit with their tail over the keyboard. They're very helpful.
Attention. Oh yeah. Looks like it's like an ideal space for writing.
Oh, it's brilliant because it's well, you can. It's
got atmosphere.
I feel right in it. You know what I mean? You just feel.
Yeah. It's your space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm very lucky with that.
Yeah, definitely. One final question from me. What advice would you give to a would-be writer sooner thinks they've got the ideas in their head?
Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Yes. I mean, I started. I was checking. I started with Jan, in 2013, and then got onto their mentoring course. So
Oh, yeah.
she mentored me, which I started in 2014, January.
Yeah.
And that was all the year where everything went pear-shaped towards the end. Because towards the end of that year was when I was going to go on the writing retreat. And I wasn't going to go then because of a nightmare of Felicity's cancer coming back. And Felicity said, if you don't bloody go on that writing retreat, I'll never forgive myself. So you've got to go. So after that writing retreat that I went on, I drove straight down to be with Felicity. So, I mean, basically 2014 until 2019, in September when she died, most of those 4 years, I was back and forth and spending months. My poor husband was left alone here while I was down for months on end with Felicity and her husband, because her husband had to go to work. You know, James had to work. So I was basically like living a gypsy life of most half time down there and half time up here. It was quite hard. Yes.
But during that time, you produced 3 novels. Besides everything else.
Well, yeah, there was that.
Quite an achievement.
Felicity never saw this one. But she did this one, which was published in 2019. She did see it. She never got to read it because she died, but she did see it and saw the dedication that I'd written inside. So that was, and also there's quotes in there from a group called Wildwood Kin, who Felicity went to see, and that they were brilliant. And I asked if I could use some words from one of their songs, so they gave me permission to do that. And they put a thing on Instagram about Felicity. The group of girls who do. They're brilliant. You should look them up if you've not heard of them. Wildwood King.
I'm just writing that. What was it? Wildwood
King. K-I-N. No, K-I-N, as in.
Oh, Kin. Sorry.
Yeah. It's my fault. I can't speak properly.
Okay, I'll put a link up on this when I edit.
Yeah.
But Michelle, that time's caught up with us. But it's been an absolute delight chatting with you.
It's been a delight chatting with you too.
It's brilliant to catch up. Let's keep in touch as we have been on Facebook anyway.
Yeah. I really appreciate it, and thank you for including me in your wonderful series.
No, I'm absolutely delighted to be able to chat with you. So
I think it's quite an honour.
Oh, good. Well, thanks for that. But for now, Michelle, I'll say goodbye and thank you very much.
Thank you, sweetheart. You take care.